Rina. Some people love her main design. Others just like supports in general. Regardless of your fancy, in this video, I'm going to tell you why Rina is like fine wine and she's aged just fine for us to now get a taste. I'll be really honest, it is radical since few people are adopting Rina in their team compositions right now. But on this channel, we like being at the forefront of changes. We did this before. We talked about Piper, Nicole, way before they were popular on the channel. A month later, now one is tier 1 on many like tier lists all around, like tier 0 and stuff. The other helped many clear Shu Defense 12 without breaking the banks. No need for S rank characters, limited and spending tons of money. Even for those of you who without Rina, this video might change your mind about who you will choose for your free standard character once you hit that 300 PT mark, or perhaps when we win our 50-50s and get Rina, you know exactly how to deploy her as well. So the question is, what exactly is the pitch? Rina's kit is inherently a late game character. Why do I say that? Is if you look at the ability for core skill enhancement, which is primarily the bulk of her kit, she buffs the pen ratio of your entire team to do more damage. This scales with her own pen ratio, so you do want higher stats, you do want higher of your W engine stats as well, so you can get as much as you can from the pen ratio in order to pass it over to your team. As you level the core skill up, of course you get more. This is in contrast to another character that we talked about previously who is much cheaper to build, is a character like Nicole. Nicole here gives a flat amount, 40% here once you have it all the way up to F, and this is very easy to get. All you just need to do your weeklies, you farm them regularly, you can get the stats. You don't even need to farm a lot to get the right main set. You don't need S rank gear and stuff like that. So inherently, Rina is a slightly later game character because you do want stuff like this. You do want like on sets, pen ratio sets, so you can boost as much as you can. You do want an on piece, so you have to take some time to find a correct one of pen ratio for the slot number 5. At the same time, you either want to use Weeping Cradle at the highest level, 50 out of 60, so you can get the maximum advanced stats, or Slice of Time to get the highest pen ratio as well, so you can take these stats and buff the rest of your team. This inherently makes Rina slightly later game, and that's why she's becoming a lot more relevant now, as a lot of us are now level 50 plus, so we have a lot more resources to get into that S rank gear, and that is now when she truly shines. Of course, we will talk about the difference between Nicole and Rina in a little bit, but I want to tell you the pitch on why now, ever so more than before, Rina is starting to become more relevant. The key trigger point for Rina's success lies in the introduction of anomaly characters like Jane Doe, as well as characters, for example, that's coming up in the live stream. We will see Bernice as well, and the more anomaly-based characters that come out, the more success that Rina will have. And that's not all, of course, there's more that she'll get, but let's talk about why anomaly characters she's so good for. If you look at her core skill over here, other than the pen ratio, which is really nice, the key thing that makes her fit into anything is the additional ability that she has. Increases the duration of shock inflicted on enemies or any characters by 3 seconds, so you have a longer shock duration. If you have a slower anomaly build-up character, maybe you need more time. The worst part of it is like your shock runs out and then you can't proc disorder. So increasing the duration by 3 seconds is a massive amount of uptime for you to proc that disorder in your teams. Her effect is quite easy to proc because you just need to have another electric character, and you will generally want to run like a 2 electric and 1 of an off element. For example, your off element might be Jane Doe, you might be Bernice, might be Piper, whatever that is. She works really well with anomaly based teams for this fact because you can get this shock application. Another thing that makes her very generic and very strong is with the arrival of anomaly DPSs, people don't really just want to focus on elemental damage buffers. For example, Sokaku over here, you can see she buffs a lot of like ice damage bonus and whatnot, which is very specialist in one sense, whereas Rina's kit buffs pen ratio on the team, which benefits if you're running crit, you get that. You run anomaly, you get that as well. If you're running Bernice, you're running Rina, whatever, you will get a lot of the value out of this character because she is such a universal support, helping both anomaly teams as well as normal like crit DPS teams to do a lot there. So super general, super good. I want to talk about something that leads her to be even better in the future. So she's really good now. Anomaly is like, she gets stronger with all these anomaly characters coming in until, of course, the day we have a specialist support that buffs anomaly. But one of the important things that makes her super strong is Rina's best support or best DPS character that synergizes with her is still not yet out. The key thing about her that makes her super strong is this last part over here as well. And when enemies are shot on the field, all squad members' electric damage increase by 10%. So if we have a main DPS that is focused on electric damage, a 5-star limited electric DPS that gets buffed when the enemy is shocked, Rina's value is going to skyrocket massively high because everything in the whole kit buffs electric main DPS. She works well in Anomaly, she works well in Crit, she works well in like other teams like 2 electric and stuff like that, and a proxy for Nicole, but her true value will skyrocket the moment you have an electric main limited DPS that wants to have enemies shocked. I think that's when Rina's value is going to really skyrocket because she can be played so flexibly into so many different teams. Now, talking about future, very nice. The biggest question that a lot of us have is, what is the difference, EOD, between Nicole and Rina? Because if you already have a character like Nicole, you don't really need another one, right? That's the main question. So it boils down to one main thing. The difference lies in the way that they defense break their enemies. Nicole requires you to hit the target with several of her factors. The ball needs to hit the target, then they get reduced. If you have a monster that spawned afterwards, or didn't get catched by the ball because, I don't know, you flew it in like outer space or something like that, then they won't get a debuff, you won't get a defense threat, and you have downtime. Rina, on the other hand, her hand ratio is very easy to control. All you need to care about is your rotation. As long as you know your rotations correctly, your buff is perpetual. It doesn't matter whether the enemy is a jumping spider or whether the enemy is slow AF, you'll always be able to do some sort of value, and that is the key difference between Rina as well as Nicole. The other thing, the difference that between Nicole as well as Rina lies in the core additional ability that she does. Nicole's here is primarily focused on buffing Aether damage, which makes her a specialist with her additional ability. Even though her core passive is very generic, the additional ability is the thing that sets both of them apart in anomaly-based teams. Nicole in anomaly-based teams doesn't really do too much other than the defense shredding that she offers, but then in terms of additional ability, you get a lot more value out of Rina here because of the duration extension of shock, which does change the way things are being done, especially if you have very slow lightning proccers. For example, you don't play with Grace, maybe you play with Rina, you play together with a character like Seth in your team. In this case, if you have a character like Seth, you have Rina, they might be slower to proc that shock, and you want that duration to be extended as long as you can, and then you are able to flexibly run your anomaly main DPS, and that makes a huge difference in terms of the team compositions, and that's what I would say. So last but not least, before we end off the video, I want to talk about the naysayers. What are the people that are saying, oh, this character is trash, you shouldn't use her at all, she's not going to be really very good, she's not going to be very useful. The biggest point that naysayers will always talk about is her M1 over here, because this one gives you a massive 5.5 seconds increase in the uptime of your core destruction skill. I would say yes, I would agree that M1 is very strong, but she is very usable at M0 as well. And one of the things that people might tend to forget, and this is where I want to show you in terms of the VR training, you can very easily see whether your buff has uptime or no uptime. Let me just slap on a random team here in this order, and I can show you real quick. And of course, if you're finding value in this video so far, you like this format, you find it interesting, you can also, of course, check out the other 2 videos on Piper and Nicole, but do like and subscribe for more such future content. Now, very easily, you can see the uptime on the top left over here. So the moment you see this gauge goes away, you know that the uptime is gone, and then you can just simply go back into Rina, 1, 2, and then you can come back and the uptime is there again. So it's actually not too much fill time that she takes. The M1 is nice because you have to do this like less of the time, but that doesn't really take up too much time. Chain attacks automatically get it up, so she is actually a very easy character to prop the uptime on her buff. And a lot of the naysayers who say like, oh, it's too short, the buff is too short, actually haven't gotten used to the rotations of Rina yet. She excels in short rotation team compositions, something that you can easily swap out your main DPS, come back later, you won't interrupt their chain combo and whatever not, rather than like long attack string characters at M0. With M1, she's much more flexible, you can play with long on-field characters that want a long rotation and doesn't want to be interrupted. But yeah, those are my honest thoughts. Let me know yours as well in the comments below. We'll be happy to discuss. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and I highly recommend you check out these 2 videos over here, which will help you increase your learning in Zenless Zone Zero and explore the game a bit more too. Thank you again so much for watching. See you in the next video.